This is the Earth Science podcast review for Unit 2, Chapter 2, Lessons 1 through 3 regarding minerals. Alright, the first step is to remember how to figure out if an item is a mineral, and there are 4 steps to that. Number 1 is that it is solid. Number 2, it is made in nature. Number 3, it has a crystal structure. And number 4 is that it has a definite chemical makeup. Remember, no matter where in the world it is found, every mineral of a specific type will have the same chemical makeup. Rocks and minerals differ in that a rock does not have a crystal structure and does not have a definite chemical makeup. All right, minerals are classified in different ways, minerals are classified according to their chemical makeup, and they're classified into groups. And the very first one that we're going to talk about is silicates. Remember that silicates are the most common group of minerals, that they contain oxygen and silicon, and that they are the ones that are called rock-forming minerals. Typically you'll find items within this category of quartz, feldspar, and mica. The next classification group is carbonates. These contain carbon and oxygen. And they are the second most common group of rock-forming minerals behind silicates. So silicates are number 1 and carbonates are number 2. And the last group to mention is the other mineral group, where oxides is the most common of those. And these are ones that are mostly metals, such as tin and copper. They consist of an element plus that is joined to an oxygen. There are many different categories for identifying minerals. The first one is color. So the color of it can help you to identify it. The next thing is streak, which tend to be within the same category. But streak, remember, is the color of the powder left behind when the mineral is scraped across the surface, such as the tiles, streak plates. Next is luster, and that is the way light reflects off the surface, whether it's metallic or non-metallic. The way the mineral breaks can also be a sign for what type of mineral it is. The first way is cleavage, and that's the tendency of a mineral to break along the flat surfaces. Remember, that's when it breaks at the flat surfaces, and that depends on direction and smoothness. And the next one is fracture. Now, fracture is the tendency of a mineral to break into irregular pieces. It's going to break in just little tiny chunks. It's not going to break off into at specific spots. Remember that when we're identifying minerals, the one that is the best indicator of what type of mineral it is the streak. You'll need to look up on why that is the case. Density and hardness are the next categories, and that's density. And remember that density is the property of matter representing the mass per unit volume. And this is determined by the kind of atoms that make up the mineral, so how closely the atoms are joined together. But mostly, just remember that density is a way to identify it. And then also hardness. Hardness being defined as the resistance of a mineral or other material to being scratched. And what we have to look at here is the crystal structure. It causes it to be harder. And the Mohs scale, this is the MOHS scale, and there are 10 levels to the Mohs scale. On the right here is the Mohs scale. Remember that number 1 is talc, number 10 is a diamond, and those go from the softest to the hardest. Your fingernail is about a 2.5, steel file is about a 6.5, diamond being the hardest mineral. All right, last section is regarding minerals in the industry and the arts and how they're formed. Remember that they are used in industry as well as the arts, specifically in jewelry making. When the minerals are originally mined, they're going to be rough and shaped kind of crazily. And the gem cutter will actually grind it into the shape that they want it, and they're going to polish it. Minerals are formed in different ways, and those include evaporation, water cooling, that was hot, molten rock cooling, heat and pressure, change, and from organisms. There are different types of mining that takes place, which gets us the minerals. Please remember, first off, the definition of an ore, which is that it is a rock that contains enough of a mineral to be mined for a profit. But then let's talk about there's surface mining and there's deep mining. Okay, surface, there are 3 different types. There's riverbed, which is panning for gold. Strip mining, where we strip the land of the vegetation on top of it and of large rocks. And open pit mining, where there's an open pit and the mining happens at the top there. Deep mining, that one here. This is when ore lies far below the earth and miners dig an opening to reach that deep ore. And one last thing, open pit mining is used to obtain ore that lies under flat land. That's the end of the podcast regarding minerals. So as always, this is a wish for you, and I say good luck.